it's very flattering, and I think if a club down south in the English Premier League shows an interest, then I think just out of intrigue, you'd have to go and listen to what they've got to say. I think that just stands to reason, regardless of how happy. I think you go and listen. It's a chance to get your foot in England. I'm not saying Steven Gerrard's unhappy at Rangers. I think he still would want to go and retain the title, but I think there would be some that I'm saying Aston Villa, just for what you're saying, Paul, owners with unbelievable wealth down the road. Barry said it as well. Brilliant stadium, fantastic training ground, a really good squad that at the moment are underachieving. So that there's things there to go and so yeah, I would think you would want to speak to him to find out what they've got to say. But you can only do that if Rangers give him permission. And I imagine if it comes to it, Rangers will have a massive transfer fee in the contract for Steven Gerrard and his backroom staff.
Just think about Aston Villa. The last couple of transfer windows in the summer, they've spent over £100 million each window.
Wow. Yep.
So there is a difference. But my honest opinion, I think he still needs to. I think he'll think himself to go down there. He still needs to win more trophies.
Let's ask Craig from Cumbernauld is on the line. Hi Craig, good evening.
Evening, Paul, Mark, Barry, how you doing?
Good, yeah, we're well, thank you. Craig, what do you make of this? The speculation that Aston Villa, top of the list for them, is your manager.
Well, look, I think I agree with what Barry says, and I said this a couple of weeks ago when he was, one of the candidates tipped for the Newcastle job as well. For me, he's got unfinished business here. I think he wants to win more than one trophy here. He said it himself last season when we won the league. One trophy in 9. Was it good enough? And he said that at a time where actually he did the right to be celebrating that he won the league, but clearly there was still a frustration that it was only the league because there was an opportunity missed. So, and also at this period of time as well, if you think about it, is he going to leave Rangers 2 weeks before a cup semi-final?
Yeah.
Is he really going to leave us in the lurch like that? I don't think he would do that personally.
I know, because when you're a Rangers fan or you're a Celtic fan, they are massive clubs. The trouble is, we're in the wrong league. We're in Scotland, and it's difficult for us. And you hear the way they speak about the Scottish League, in England.
Paul, I've been open. At some stage, he is going to leave.
Yeah,
but
sure.
I don't think now, just with the two jobs that have come up over the last 2 or 3 weeks, obviously Newcastle and Aston Villa, I don't think now is the right time. And I believe Steven Gerrard thinks that as well. Look, we don't know. We're only speculating.
Time will tell.
But time will tell, and he's the only guy who will know. But in my opinion, I think he believes that he needs to win or get more trophies before he then makes that step down to the Premier League, because it is going to happen. All Rangers fans have got to be realistic and know it will happen sometime, but at this moment in time I don't think it will.
The thing for me, Craig, going what you're saying about the Newcastle thing, I'm not so sure how much substance there was in interest in terms of Steven Gerrard with Newcastle. But it's by the by now, because he's still the Rangers manager and they've now appointed Eddie Howe. Aston Villa is real. There's a relationship there with Christian Purslow, the chief executive. They want him. They want to go and speak to him. Now, for all we know, there could be dialogue going on between both boardrooms just now, because Villa won't hang about. So we will find out, and we'll find out pretty quickly. I think we'll know within 48 hours if he's going to talk to him or not.
They want to appoint a new manager for a week on Saturday.
Yeah, listen, they're not messed about.
Yep.
Villa want to get in the top 6. They want to push for things. I don't think they're, even if they kept with Dean Smith, I don't think they're in danger of going down. But that shows the ambition of the club. They're not happy to finish 16th, Paul, or 17th. Sure. They want to, again, they look, for example, the most recent one is West Ham. Look at what Davy Moyes has achieved, and he's hardly spent a button compared to Aston Villa. Again,
third,
Steven
top of the
Gerrard,
table. Second.
The starting salary for a Premier League manager down the road is 100 grand a week. You probably get £7 or £8 million a year to be a Premier League manager. So again, it's not the be all and end all, but it is part of the whole thing that you look at. And for his backroom staff as well, Gary McAllister's been the assistant manager of Aston Villa. He was there under Gerard Houllier, so he knows that area. So look, I'm not chasing my way. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it is real. The interest from Aston Villa is real, and we'll find out pretty quickly how this is going to develop.
Craig, stay with us. I want to ask Derek, a Rangers fan, on the line. Derek, good evening.
Good evening, Paul. Good evening, panel.
What do you think?
I wouldn't be surprised if he went, because a few weeks ago Paul had a wee dig about the lack of transfer budget, and the transfer budget in England would be massive compared to Scotland. Me personally, and I know this is going to be controversial, I'm not his biggest fan. I don't rate him as a manager. I think he's vastly overrated. And I think if the season wasn't stopped a year and a half ago, he wouldn't have been the Rangers manager at the moment. I think 1 trophy out of 9 is not acceptable, and I wouldn't be very disappointed if he left.
But Derek, sure.
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of him.
I remember you said that before. But what about the job he did last season up against Celtic? 25 points.
I'm not disputing that, Paul, but it seems to me when the fans are in the stadium, there's certain players are like a bag of nerves. And Goldson and Tavernier, I know Tavernier's been playing all this season, but Goldson again yesterday, his defending in his positional sense is shocking. And as a manager, he must be seeing this, and he consistently never drops him. There's certain players seem to be undroppable with him.
Barry, what would you say on that? Yep.
In Europe last year, in Europe last week, Paul, he drops that young boy Bass for the
Barisic.
Barisic, yeah.
And I think that was a wrong decision. He seems to drop players that are in for him for no apparent reason.
Barry?
Yeah, I see where Derek's coming from. 1 trophy in 9. That's the reason why I think he'll stay, to go and get them more trophies. Disappointing last year, League Cup quarter-final out, Scottish Cup quarter-final out. I think he knows he needs to go and add them to his collection and try and retain the league, and then his stock's even higher. So that's the reason why I think he'll stay.
But what if he thinks he's taking Rangers as far as he can?
Yeah, but listen, the only guy will know that.
Yeah, because like we're saying, come January he'll think, I need to strengthen. Because you look at Celtic, there's a real challenge there.
Yep.
What have I got to do to strengthen? When he weighs everything up, what's my chances of retaining the title? Now, if he thinks I'm not going to be able to do what I think I need to do in January to win the league, then therefore it's in reverse. He's thinking, well, this is a chance to then to go. So you don't know it. That's what I'm saying. There's these are the things that only Steven Gerrard knows the answer to. But go back to the interest from Villa is real, and I think we'll know quickly, Paul, very quickly, which direction this story's taking.
Okay. I think Rangers have got a strong enough squad to retain the title
with what they've got right now.
Yes,
because January is going to be huge. Craig, we'll bring you back in. Derek, back to you in a moment. Craig?
Yeah, well, see, my point is this, right? When you look at what Steven Gerrard was saying yesterday in his press conference, and that's all you can go on what he said most recently, right? He was talking about the reasons why he rested certain players, like took certain players off and put Patterson at left back and that, because he said, look, the most important game for us now is the semi-final, and he said that for players, club stuff's are bread and butter, the international's no more important than that.
Yeah.
If he thinks that, why on earth would he leave, knowing that leaving means we're going to go into a major semi-final without a manager, and we'd have to then bring, because we wouldn't have time really to appoint someone, so we're going to have to bring in somebody for the youth setup again, I don't know, Kane Murray or something again. I just don't think when he's talking about how important that is to him as a manager and resting players, that he would leave the club in such a dire situation going into because it's a huge game for we need to win that game and go into that final. So I can't think he would do that. To be perfectly honest,
Derek, what do you think on that?
The Holy Grail's money in everybody's walk of life, Paul. If somebody came in and offered you treble your wages, I'm quite sure you wouldn't be with Go Radio. So
no, that's why I'm here. They did.
Don't be fooled by what he said yesterday. Everybody thought Brendan Rodgers was going to stay with Celtic. Sure. At the end of the day, you want to challenge yourself at the biggest stage in the world, and money talks at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mark has said something there, Barry, which, just listening to it all and listening to them this morning in England, and they were saying, Scotland, the league, so what? He has to win the league again if he stays, and he may well win the league. They're in the box position, but we saw the results the other day, 23.5 million. I have no doubt that Douglas Park, John Bennett, they've done brilliantly for Steven Gerrard and for Rangers. The job he has done has been amazing to beat Celtic last season. Celtic should have been far away, the club and all the rest of it, the way things were. And it may be this is his time, unless he's going to get the money, and nobody can guarantee you're going to win it, but it'll be interesting. The chats with Douglas Park.
We don't know the talks between Douglas and Steven Gerrard in terms of what's going to happen in January. We can only speculate. No, listen, me personally, I think they'll go for the bigger thing, and that's winning the league. So not having to sell anybody. So
this is great news for Steven Gerrard to get the interest of Aston Villa, because he'll be speaking to Douglas Park saying, right, Doug, I know, Mr. Chairman, what's happened. What are we doing in January? What is the position? Because he came out 4 weeks ago and said, what, we spent virtually nothing.
Yeah, but that was that. journalistic terms, that was a pop.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was defending himself and putting it back on the board when the results weren't going right.
So is this an opportunity for Rangers?
There's a pot of gold at the end of April, start of May,
Yeah.
and that's £40 million. And I think they'll back him and no allow one of the bigger stars. I might be wrong. I'm only going, this is my opinion. I think that's what will happen.
Yeah, well, I think if Steven Gerrard doesn't have that guarantee, then
It could be a different story.
yeah, it's a different story. That's why I think as well that we will know about this pretty quickly.
Yeah.
You listen.
I hear you saying
the
that,
next few,
yeah.
see in the next
Yeah.
few hours, Steven Gerrard could be on his way down to Villa Park for talks.
He's been on the phone
That's
straight.
how real it is. On the other hand, there could be a statement in the next few hours from Rangers saying he is going nowhere. We've had talks. We've refused Aston Villa permission to speak. This is not. That's what I'm saying. This is different from Newcastle because this is real. Newcastle was very much speculation. This is real, and there's no messing about, and there's no time to waste. So that's why I think we'll know pretty quickly which direction this is going in, Paul, within 24 hours.
Derek, we would have to ask you then, given that you're not the biggest fan of Steven Gerrard, who would you want as manager? If he does go to Aston Villa, or whenever he goes, who would you want at the moment as manager of Rangers?
If we couldn't afford John Terry, Callum Davison.
Wow, yeah. So, could they afford John Terry? I mean, because remember, Douglas Park, John Bennett, fabulously
it's
wealthy as well.
Similar
Yeah.
in terms of the appointment of Steven Gerrard. Look,
It is,
John
isn't it?
Terry's been a first team coach, obviously, at
Sure.
Aston Villa.
And they
was-
miss him. Yep.
Yeah, look, listen, certainly this season they've missed him.
Yep.
And by all accounts, he's a top coach. He knows the game. Listen, he was a top player. I'm not saying top players make top coaches, but John Terry was well thought of at Aston Villa.
Could you
And
see
he has
that
been a
happen?
big- Yeah, it's a good post. Great shout for Derek. Never come into my mind. Callum Davison, I spoke to you off
Yeah.
air. He's one of the ones that came to my mind as well for what he done at St Johnstone. Double winner last year with probably one of the smallest budgets in the league. I would say so. So listen, there's a few names out there, but for me, I don't think we'll be talking about the names because I think Steven Gerrard will remain.
And this could be good news for Steven Gerrard because
It's a no lose
Yeah.
situation for Steven
to get more muscle.
Gerrard. And by the way, Paul, just putting the journalist hat on. These I love these nights. They're brilliant.
Yeah.
And look, we're guests. We're putting out scenarios. We're playing devil's advocate with things, but this is a real story. This is what Scottish football. This is what Go Radio's about. We've got a big club in England wanting to take the manager of Rangers down the road. They're interested in speaking to him. There's intrigue here. There's a real story. One way or another, you're either getting Steven Gerrard and the board saying you're going nowhere.
Yep.
I'm staying here to win 56, or I want to go and speak to Villa. I want to hear what they've got to say. Either way, there's massive stories coming in the next couple of days.
Craig, what do you think of those suggestions if it was going to be John Terry or Callum Davidson?
I've got to listen. They're good shouts for me. Certainly, my number one would be Callum Davidson, but I think for me it would either be Callum Davidson or Derek McInnes. I know he turned us down when he was at Aberdeen, but I think you have to be in these scenarios. You have to be big boys and understand he could definitely do a good job. I know people look at it and say, well, he couldn't get the better of Celtic with Aberdeen, but he would go into a Rangers squad with better players, with a bigger budget, and who psychologically at this moment in time already have the upper hand over Celtic. So I don't think that would necessarily come into equation. For me, that would be the two I think we would probably go for anyway.
And actually, the neutral would say to you, Craig, you want to win trophies. Callum Davidson, he's got 2 out of the 3 at the moment.
Well, very true.
At
Very
St Johnstone.
true. I mean, if
Yeah.
we could do that,
He's a good
they're all
manager.
blue and white ribbons, but
He knows his
still
stuff. He knows his stuff, Craig. Callum Davison. It's a great shout. He knows his stuff. Derek McInnes knows his stuff. A great shout. I'll tell you one thing. I would have Callum Davidson or Derek McInnes all day long before John Terry. 100 because they're proven.
But I don't think Derek liked that.
proven.
Yes, they're proven.
Yeah,
sure.
they're proven.
Of course.
They know the game. So no, I mean I get the thing about John Terry. Again, it's that phrase. He's a sexy name.
Yeah,
He's sexy.
term,
Yeah.
Mark,
But I wouldn't go for him. No.
See Callum
Yeah.
Davis and Derek McInnes. For me, they know the Scottish game inside out. Callum Davison's proved it last year. Derek McInnes, for me, I think Aberdeen now are looking back and thinking, look at the job. The supporters must be looking and thinking the job that Derek McInnes done the last 8 years.
Yep, be careful what you
Aberdeen.
wish for. Yep.
Yep.
Derek, final word from you.
Do you think Aston Villa would be in the position they're in just now if John Terry was still there, Mark? That's a nonsense. That. John Terry will go on to be a top class manager.
Well, you might be right, but we don't know that. So that's guesswork at the moment. What we do know is you can look at a CV of Callum Davidson and Derek McInnes, and there's actual substance and facts here. With John Terry, if it was that good, would Dean Smith have let him go? Where did he go to?
I think he wants a manager's job.
Yeah, but where did he go to? Why is he not the manager of Norwich? Why is he not the manager of Newcastle? Why is he not the manager of Bournemouth? Why is he not the manager of whoever? So where did he go to if he's that good, Derek?
He could end up at Norwich.
Can I just say there,
Billy Gilmer? But that's
can
good
you
question.
win a game
Yep.
2-1 on Saturday and get sacked 2 hours later?
I know.
Yeah.
It's someday.
Yeah.
Derek, Craig, both of you, thanks very much for calling. Cheers.